When you see the transmission in emergency mode, you can continue driving, warning in your Volkswagen car. It doesn't always mean that the problem is with the transmission. Well, it's often with the electronics, with the sensors, with the wiring, or with something else that is actually cheaper to repair. If you're having a vehicle with the DSG DCT transmission, it's most likely the mechatronic or the clutch that causes this warning popping up on the dash. The clutch in your DSG will probably live about 100,000 miles, especially if it's the dry clutch system like 7-speed DSG, older gearboxes, and if it's the wet clutch transmission, it will live longer. But anyway, at some point the clutches will wear down and it will show you this message when the clutches start slipping. So one of the reasons for the DSG transmission to show this message is slipping clutch. So there is something bad with the clutch. Also, the mechatronic is pretty weak in the DSG transmissions, especially in the year 2012, 2014, 2016, so the older transmissions. And if you have one of these, so most likely you will need to repair your transmission and it will cost you a lot of money. But before you do this, check for other reasons that are cheaper to locate and repair. In 8-speed automatic transmissions, there was a very common problem that gave you this transmission in emergency mode error message. It was the software or the electronic glitch, and when you just turned the car off and on again, this problem disappeared and it could not reappear for about a month or two, but you will still need to get the newer software updates for this transmission to avoid this warning popping up on the dash of your car in the future. Now, one more reason why this can happen is extremely cold weather. When it's extremely cold, the fluid is quite thick, and when the car starts, the brain of your car can't understand what's wrong with the transmission because the fluid is thick and the transmission works in different ways. And you need to warm up the transmission before you start driving. When it's minus 20, minus 30 degrees Celsius outside, you need to start the car, put the shifter into drive or reverse, and idle for about a minute in this position so the transmission will work and the fluid will heat up a little bit. I have the article on my blog that explains this problem and this error message in more details, and you may consider reading it and finding answers to your questions. Now, another problem that can trigger this error message is the low battery. If your 12-volt battery is low or dying, it may drop the voltage when you start the car, and the brains of your car will just go mad and will throw any kinds of error messages, including this transmission in emergency mode error message, because this low voltage will affect the transmission control unit. You may actually charge your battery, or you may consider replacing it with the new one, especially if this battery is quite old, like 4 or 5 years old. There is one more reason that may trigger this problem in your car, and it's the shifter assembly, especially in DSG transmission, especially if it's quite old transmission. The DSG shifters were not really reliable, and some sensors in them may fail, and when the brain of your car can't understand what position the shifter is in, it will throw this message or any other message connected with the transmission. Sometimes you can repair these shifters, but in most cases the dealership will tell you that the only way to solve this problem is to replace the shifter in this transmission. Also, you should check for vacuum problems. Very often I saw in forums, Reddit threads, and also some mechanics told me that the problem with this error message may be because of the vacuum leak. So the intake pipe, for example, or the turbocharger pipe comes off, and the brains of the engine can't understand how much air comes into the engine, and so a lot of problems will start popping up, and especially the transmission problem is one of the possible issues that this problem may trigger. So before you agree to any other repairs, check the pipes, because after some maintenance or repairs, these pipes may fall off, and it will cause a lot of issues, including this transmission in emergency mode. So the DIY things that you can do: turn off and on your car. Maybe you will just solve this problem for a couple of months. Then disconnect the battery, disconnect the minus terminal for 5 minutes, then connect it back and see if the problem disappears, because sometimes this is the software glitch that may easily be repaired just by resetting the control modules, which is easily done by disconnecting the battery for several minutes. Then you may also check the voltage. If the battery is bad or the alternator isn't working properly, you may also have these issues. If there is no limp mode, so the power is not actually reduced, you may try driving more time and the brains may reset and everything will come back to normal. So if driving for another 5 or 7 minutes solves the problem, maybe it's just a software glitch that was solved automatically and you don't need to do anything with that. Otherwise, if these DIY things don't help you, the last choice is to go to the dealership or to the repair shop and have your car inspected.